Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey.
Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our citizens. We will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Boy, CNN. Oh, man. Why do we go on CNN? Why do we waste time on CNN still? The fake news media. As I call it, the alphabetical news, the CBSs, the ABCs, the CBN, SNC, MSNDC, MSNBC, ABC, GCG. I'm sick of all of the letters. I'm sick of it. The enemy of the people, the fake news media, won't tell the truth. Fear-mongering, bias, Trump deranged. Don't want to report on anything. They hate the truth. We got to go in here in school and repeat ourselves time and time after again. And it's just bias. It's just, fear-mongering, the same propaganda rhetoric, the same crap every single time, with this smug. Them patriots say, where the hell is her lips? I don't know. I be seeing that a lot in the comments, But hey, I love the way Trump, this administration, Republicans, how they come up on here on CNN and how they treat this lady in the Oval Office, in the briefing room. I love the treatment they've been giving this lady because she has been very nasty, with a lot of folks on a lot of things, can't tell the truth, bias, She's been very nasty with President Trump, especially in the past, in those viral clips, live on television, just very, very nasty with President Trump. And I love the treatment that she's getting back. Treat people how you want to be treated. Fake news. The media, tell the people the truth. Play the full thing. Tell the full story. Put the correct headline. Maybe things will be different. But that won't take place with you guys. And this is why the numbers are where it's at now. Now we see the numbers plummeting all over the place. Look at MSNBC. They cutting people's shows. Look at the people the women on the spew, not the View, the spew. The CEO got to come out. Both CEOs got to come out and say, please stop the Trump rhetoric. Tone it down. Our ratings are terrible. We are on a verge of cancellation. You see why this is all taking place. And come to find out, there's a new Trump supporter born every single day. And tons of people love what President Trump is doing. Promises made, promises kept. He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. He's doing exactly what he campaigned on. Love or hate the man. And he could do the greatest thing in the world. And guess what? These people still won't stand up and clap for him. They will still try to find something bad, something negative to say. He could do the best thing in this country. Just being real, man. But let's go and get into this. We got Brandon Gill finna set this lady straight, man. And I'm here for it, Let's go and jump into this, y'all.
Speaking of Congress, my lead source tonight is a Republican from Texas who sits on the DOJ subcommittee, Congressman Brandon Gill. We won't hold you responsible for all of Congress's approval ratings, sir. It's great to have you here. But on the president's post tonight, having him weigh in, really the first time we've
I'm telling you, they be in the comment section and they be saying, well, I be saying this a lot in my CNN videos when we react to this crap. They be like, where is her lips? This smug hack activist, where is her lips? I be seeing that so much in the comments. I'm just putting it. That's what y'all be saying now. Yeah.
Seen him respond, and he's blaming the Federalist Society for these judges. Congressman, isn't President Trump responsible for who he nominates?
Oh, hell.
Well, listen, I think that there's a huge problem in this country with rogue judges who are
Put the judges on the plane. Deport. I say deport the judges. They say, Rick, sir, please don't say that, sir. Rick, we don't got to do that, sir. Rick, put that on the plane. Deport them. Walk them out. I say walk the judges out. Impeach them. The judges are the enemy of the people. A threat to society. A threat to public safety. Judge gonna come out and say, you know, with all the gang members and criminals and rapers on the plane, you know what? Turn that plane back around and drop them right back off again in America. Those people are innocent angels. Those fellas are innocent. Those gang member criminals are innocent people. Due process. Y'all grab take his and put him on the plane with them gang members. And let that plane do they scheduled drop off. Gonna talk about turn the plane around mid-flight. I'm telling you, man, these people hate our country, man. I'm just being real. Judges think they outrank a president. And what the hell was the point of an election? The people spoke loud and clear. The people won't change. The people want transparency. The people have been spit on, lied to, left in the dark.
Overstepping their authority, abusing their authority to usurp the president's power and to thwart the agenda that voters elected him to do, whether it's deporting illegal aliens or instituting tariffs. That's not democratic. And that's a huge problem. And I think that's what the president is speaking out against right here.
But do you consider a judge that he appointed a rogue judge?
Well, I think in this case, I don't agree with the ruling. I agree with the president. I think that this was an overstep of that court's authority. I think that the American people can see that we have a huge problem right now with large and persistent trade deficits. That's a national security issue. That is an issue that falls under President Trump's powers as Commander-in-Chief of the United States, and he is taking action to alleviate that problem. That's what he's doing here. I don't think that that ruling was proper, in particular given the context that just a few months ago, the Senate took up the question of whether the president had the power in the first place to institute these tariffs. They decided not to stop him. That this is something that the president was elected to do, a power that he has, and I think these judges are overstepping their authority.
Some people might ask, how do you convince a court that it's an emergency if we've had a trade deficit since 1975?
Well, you can have a trade deficit since 1975 that is getting worse and worse and worse, and is also something that culminates into a problem. Listen, there's a major issue in this country whenever our manufacturing base is being shipped overseas, whenever jobs are being shipped overseas, whenever our entire industrial base has been outsourced, whenever we're reliant on hostile foreign nations for key pharmaceutical inputs, for energy, for all sorts of things that we need in our everyday life. These are the kinds of things that President Trump is going after with these tariffs. That, by any measure, is a national emergency.
Yeah.
It's a problem for our national security, and it's a problem for our economy.
And some people might agree with you on pharmaceuticals or semiconductor chips or something that relates to national security, but then also say, well, why are bananas and coffee and Chilean sea bass included in that? How does that constitute a national emergency?
Well, I think it's important for the United States to have to consume food that was produced in the United States so that we are not reliant on other countries for our food supply. That seems pretty straightforward to me. But listen, this is exactly what the people elected the president to do.
One way to avoid a court challenge would be to have Congress handle this. And Congress has the power to regulate trade. Republicans have majorities in both houses. Why not just have Congress put these tariffs in place?
Well, listen, Congress can do that. I would support it if we could. But that process takes time. The president mentioned that in his post. It would take weeks.
But they in there in Congress with sticks up there, in there saying a whole lot of nothing. In there arguing. In there, you know, it's a criminal organization in there. Honestly, they ought to walk in there and just say, hey, people, put Put your hands behind your back. Ma'am, and you going back to the bar. Hey, and you lady over there, we know she was with her brother. She was with her brother. You right here, you falsified documents too. We caught you. We seen you. You too, sir. You too. Yeah. Lady, you dropped your eyelash on the floor. You dropped, is that your eyelashes on the floor? Pick your eyelashes up. You see your eyelash on the floor now. Shit. You know, I'm walking there and just say people just start dragging people out with their hands behind their back. Handcuffs, everybody.
For us to do that, the president is aggressively acting in our country's interest. Again, doing what the people want him to do as commander-in-chief. That is the purpose of the executive branch, to be able to act swiftly and decisively in our country's interests. So perhaps we'll take that up at some point, but right now the president put these tariffs in place, and I think that they should stay there.
But why not put them in place on April 2nd? You knew what the president wanted. He laid it out on what they called Liberation Day. I mean, you're saying it's going to take weeks. A court battle is also going to take weeks, months, maybe even years.
Well, the appeals court ruled that the tariffs can come back into place. We'll see where that court process goes. The president has other options that he can pursue, which have been referenced in the past. So I think that we're going to continue this process. Remember, tariffs are one part of a broader economic agenda that the president has implemented. The other legs are lower taxes, which Congress is working on right now with the one big, beautiful bill. We passed it out of the House. It's in the Senate's hands right now. We're clawing back onerous regulations that the Biden administration put into place that is hampering economic growth in the United States, and we're slashing spending as well. This is one part of a much larger economic vision that President Trump has for this country, to bring jobs back, to bring manufacturing back, and to revitalize American innovation, to get us on a sound and sustainable economic footing.
Well, I mean, one big question is how you're going to pay for the big, beautiful bill if there is not revenue from the tariffs to offset it over the next 2 years or 10 years. But the president said tonight, which you just referenced, he said, quote, the horrific decision that stated that I would have to get the approval of Congress for these tariffs. In other words, hundreds of politicians would sit around D.C. for weeks and even months trying to come to a conclusion as to what to charge other countries that are treating us unfairly. If allowed to stand, it would destroy presidential power and the presidency would never be the same. Do you agree, though, that it is your job as a member of Congress to regulate trade, that lies with you, not actually with the president?
Well, first of all, let me go back to something that you said just a second ago. Is about how we would pay for this one big, beautiful bill. This big, beautiful bill pays for itself. We have $1.6 trillion in mandatory spending reform. That's the biggest mandatory spending reform in American history. That's put up against $4 trillion in tax cuts, making the 2017 Trump tax cuts that were so wildly successful, that put our economy on a massively upward trajectory.
Yeah, and
that's
the White House has
put
said
up, that is paid for with the spending cuts and then with economic growth.
Yeah, and the White House has said the
tariff revenue is icing on the cake.
But on what is your responsibility? Is it regulating trade in the Constitution that it is Congress's responsibility, not the president's?
Congress has oversight over this. This is part of the president's authority. This was a national emergency that the president has talked about at length, that he talked about on the campaign trail, that he's talked about since then. He has the powers to implement these tariffs under his national emergency authority, and that's exactly what he did.
But Congress could also just implement them, right?
Certainly Congress could, and perhaps there's a role for it. But in this case, President Trump implemented this. These were lawful tariffs. We have been working on the one big, beautiful bill. We've got things that we have been focused on. He's been focused here. We'll see what the Supreme Court says here. I think the Supreme Court...
See what I mean, though? We just come on CNN and just waste so much time, man. You know? We waste so much time. We waste so much time with the fake news media, man.
Court is going to side with the president.
But you'll wait for the Supreme Court to step in before you could take something that really, theoretically, you could do tomorrow as a member of Congress.
Well, we are working on getting this one big, beautiful bill signed into law. We're going to do it by July 4th. That's the deadline that the president would like to see. That's the deadline we have set in Congress. So we have got our work cut out for us as well. One other thing that we're going to be working on now that we got this out of the House is codifying the DOJ cuts and making those permanent, taking all of the work that Elon Musk and the president's team has done in identifying waste, fraud, and abuse, billions of dollars, waste, fraud, and abuse that we on the DOJ subcommittee have highlighted time and time again, that the American people are ready to see permanently gotten rid of. That's what we're focused on right now.
Are you going to codify every single thing that Elon Musk said he cut?
Well, the first thing that we're working on is a rescission bill that we're getting from the White House. We're told it's going to come Monday. That's going to claw back money that pays for propaganda outlets like NPR and PBS and defunds parts of USAID. I don't think that we ought to be spending taxpayer dollars on state-sponsored media in this country, and most Americans agree with me there. So that's the first place we're going to start, and then we'll see where we can go from there.
But it's not clear that you'll do all of them. Is that correct?
Well, listen, we're working through all of this right now. Rescission bills have to come from the White House in order for them to be privileged in the Senate, as you know, so that we only need a 50-vote threshold to pass these bills in the Senate. We'll see what the White House gives us. I suspect that a large portion, if not all of the DOJ cuts, are going to be made permanent.
Okay, so you said most of them, if not all. Congressman Brandon Gill, thanks for your time.
I don't know why we go on CNN. I don't know why we go on CNN. I just don't know. This lady here, in one ear, out the other. They don't care about anything good. They want the country to burn and crash. So guess what? They can blame it on the big bad orange man. You can see it in her face. But hey, let me know what y'all think, man. I love y'all. God bless you all and your family. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace and love, you guys.